crazy story. I don't know about you guys, but I was glued to this testimony all day watching it. It was very entertaining. So this is Fani Willis. She's the DA in Georgia. She's the one who brought these charges against Donald Trump and basically everybody else. Now it's found out that basically it is believed she lied on government forms about a relationship she was having, funds she was receiving. She's basically funneling money to her boyfriend. It is a major scandal. And even MSNBC has this viral clip where they're saying she's probably going to get disqualified. I think it's worse than that. Many people are saying that she appears to have admitted to many different felonies, trying to stumble over and cover up the potential crimes she's being accused of now. The wild thing about this case, I don't know, did you guys watch it?
I watched about 10 minutes of it or 15 minutes of it. Testimony.
I was watching the testimony, and then I also watched some of Fox News. And I forgot the host's name, but she's a former, I think she was a judge. Fani Willis is yelling at the lawyers. She's refusing to answer questions. You needed a bowl of popcorn, all right? Because this is how the trial would go. They would ask something like, "Did Mr. Wade ever spend the night with you?" Spend? Like what does it mean to spend? And like, did he ever stay with you? Stay? Well, I don't know if I'd call it staying. Okay. And then it finally got to the point where the lawyer's like, "Did he ever visit the place where you lay your head?" And I'm like, where's the judge to be like, yeah, stop, what are you doing?
Did you ever have a conversation with him? And she's like, I didn't have a substantive conversation with him.
It depends on what the meaning of the word is. And Thomas Massie knows exactly what I'm talking about. This is 100% the playbook that Bill Clinton was using when the investigation for Monica Lewinsky was going on.
No, my favorite part of all of this was when they asked both of them to like define the timeline of the relationship. And both of them were like, vaguely, we started dating at this time, we can say, but he says the relationship ends like in June and she says it ends in August. And she's like, well, he's a man. He would say that. Yep. We had the toughest conversation in August. Like right after this, she's going to start a relationship podcast and lead us all into a stray.
She's like, he's a man. So when it stopped getting physical, he said it was over. But for me, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So basically what this means is, let me pull this up to give everybody the context as we get into this. This is the Georgia election racketeering prosecution, the state of Georgia v. Donald J. Trump et al., pending criminal case. I have to imagine that following this testimony and this scandal, you are going to have every defendant, well, at least the ones who didn't plead guilty and then go crying on TV after funneling away hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're going to be filing challenges saying like, this is malicious prosecution. It's got to be thrown out. This is an absolutely wild case to hear. If she does not get removed and criminally charged, I would not be surprised. But even if she gets removed, it's like we'll be lucky to see any actual accountability in terms of any of this.
What if she gets removed? What happens with the case that she had been prosecuting?
I think they'd have to remove both her and the lead prosecutor.
Do they need to just call the case like a mistrial and start over, or do they just swap someone in?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask a lawyer.
I don't think they can swap anyone in, right? I mean, she's the one who brought the charges. I am not a lawyer. I am not from Georgia. I don't know how any of this works. But to a certain extent, you know, the trial is ongoing. I think the closest thing to do is get a mistrial. I don't know if that exempts him from facing.
But it's not going to exonerate him from this charge, unfortunately.
And they'll sell it as, well, crazy MAGA whoever went after poor Fani Willis, who's just trying to live life and have an undefined relationship with this man while she collects money from her campaign. Like, ultimately, it's not going to be the same thing as clearing Trump's name. It's just going to be
let me play this clip for you. This video is going insanely viral. Everybody's reposting it. This is MSNBC that you're hearing.
It's so legalistic centric and yet so important and fascinating.
Right. Don't let the legalese fool you. This is epic. This is monumental. If things are going in the direction we think, Fani Willis lied to the court, it's game over for her. She will be disqualified. If they had a relationship prior to when they represented to the court, it's a huge deal. I can't overstate it.
And do you feel the same way, Charles, based on the testimony of what we just heard? And we just learned Nathan Wade, who is the special prosecutor in this.
All right, so that was right before he was about to testify. So let me slow down. There's so much to go through here, and let me just state it this way. I don't know. We have this article. We can see what the New York Times says will happen next. So basically, She may have chosen her boyfriend to run this case, giving him a bunch of money. Question is, did she receive, there's like several questions, but one of them is, she filled out a form saying she did not receive any gifts from prohibited persons. And that would be anything valued $100 or more from a variety of individuals, but personal relationships, sexual romantic relationships are included in that. And she said no. When asked, she said, well, it's because those lavish vacations that are on record on credit cards with credit card statements and all the information proving it, we paid that all back. I paid that all back in cash that I just happened to have lying around. And then hilarity ensues as there's numerous questions about how do you have this cash lying around? You're going to Belize with thousands of dollars, and nobody believes it. It is their only excuse. Otherwise, she's basically caught having committed serious crimes. So now we have this trial, and I guess the question will be: is the judge going to be honest and hold her to account? I think it's worrisome that she was acting up to an insane degree on the stand, insulting the lawyers, saying refusing to answer questions. When she was asked whether or not Nathan Wade had ever stayed at her residence, she goes, "My residence? No." And any place you live, any place I live, I only lived one place. You owned multiple properties, but I only lived in one of them. Did he ever stay at any property you owned that I own? Stay? What do you mean? I don't understand the question. And that was for like a half an hour straight.
It reminds me of when you read about people who are they're narcissistic personality disorder. She's thinking she can outsmart any lawyer there by just kind of weaseling her way out of the world. It just also reminds me of when Bob Mendez got charged with his most recent scandal, and they asked him, why do you have all this cash on hand? He's like, well, as the child of immigrants, this is just something we do because things don't always feel secure. There was always a spin that you're sort of not supposed to question. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for now. For her to be like, well, the reason this relationship and the way I acted was okay is because insert insane reason here.
The New York Times says that if she is disqualified, the case would be reassigned to another Georgia prosecutor who would then have the ability to continue the case exactly as is or make major changes, such as adding or dropping charges or defendants, or to even drop the case altogether. The decision to drop the case would end the prosecution of Mr. Trump and his allies for their actions in Georgia after the 2020 election, when the former president sought to overturn his loss in the state. It would be up to a state entity called the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia to find someone else to take up the case. More specifically, the decision would fall to the council's executive director, Pete Skandalakis. What a name.
His last name is Scandal?
Skandalakis.
Skandalakis.
Or we can call it Scandalicus.
Anyway, don't judge a man by his name.
No.
An experienced former
Skandalakis
prosecutor.
is way better.
Skandalakis. In an interview on Wednesday, he said that he could ask a prosecutor to take on Trump's case voluntarily, but he could also appoint a prosecutor to do the job, whether that prosecutor wanted to or not. This is crazy. That's the current state of politics in this country. These people are corrupt. I think, I'll put it simply. They're as corrupt as you imagine they could be. And I feel like they're going to get away with it.
I don't think it's Fani, I think, not Fani.
Yeah, even if she gets disqualified, so what?
Yeah, but if she used, if she took gifts, that's a big deal. And if she paid him back with money, cash that she'd received from previous campaigns, I think she actually said that on the stand, that she had cash left over from old campaign donations, which is also illegal, and that no one really pressed her on it when she said it, but she said it.
Well, she didn't say that.
What did she say?
She
Do you have
took
the
cash
clip?
out from her bank. We'll get to that in a bit. I mean, because that's a whole thing that has to be broken down, because everyone's accusing her of having committed a felony.
Do you think there's going to be another prosecutor that wants to be assigned to this case? I mean, if it comes to that, is there someone, or are they going to be like, no, I've got skeletons in my closet. I don't want any media. This case is such a lightning rod for media attention.
People in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, right? And looks like she was in a glass house. We don't know which residence that was and whether Wade stayed there or not, but
Define stayed and Wade.
It's definitely glass, and it's breaking.
I mean, Trump's also going to his effort to stop the hush money payment trial in New York is advancing. I I have no idea what we can expect to happen in November. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.